All right, we are live on YouTube. Very exciting. We'll be starting at 10 o'clock. So if you're joining us on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel, just know that it's going to be just a few more minutes.
These things are really light sensitive.
All right, I see us on YouTube. I'm going to double check and make sure we're streaming from the website.
What's the name of the YouTube channel?
Unity 253. I am not seeing us on the website. Let's see if we have to go live from OBS. All right, well, the website is doing a countdown. That's pretty cool. And so I'm wondering if it'll start streaming when the countdown gets to ground zero. But we're on YouTube. We're live on YouTube. And we're going to start the Sunday program at 10 o'clock. Ooh, which is in 2 minutes. Cool. All right, well, the website says 1 minute and 10 seconds.
And the website, is that Facebook or?
No, it's www.unity253.com. That'll redirect you to our website.
Okay.
Oh boy, the website says it's waiting for us. $9.59. Let's do a refresh. Oh, it says it's still waiting for us. All right, I'm gonna text the web guy. Tell him we are not showing up. They're waiting for us. We're gonna get this going.
Wish I could help.
Me too.
I don't know anything about that.
I wish I could help.
Oh, wonderful.
How are we doing? See, it's 10:01. So we should be broadcasting. It's just, I'm not seeing it on the website, but I do see us on Facebook. So we should probably just go for it, my friend.
Let me
All right.
know.
Well, and the web guy's writing me back. So if you are watching this, this is actually our Unity update is about all of this amazing technology that we're starting to use and how it all interplays with each with the other. And I'm very, very excited to try some new things today to create a better experience for everyone who has decided to join us on this broadcast, on this recording, possibly after the fact. Tell you what, while we're waiting for the web guide to give us a magical answer. Okay, I'm gonna let him do that. Let's get going here. Tell you what, let's do, hold on, I'm figuring all this out. Where's my, here we go. Let's do an invocation, shall we? Everyone just join me. Let's get fully centered. Take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, and just feel yourself in your body. Feel the breath as it goes in, feel the breath as it goes out. So we're just going to remember that God is all there is. God is in all things, even those things that we might not associate with being God. But if truly God is all there is, then God is everything. And so we come to a place today of talking about the new normal, talking about things that are new, talking about things that are uncomfortable, and just being in a place of listening for the voice of God, of listening for what is ours to learn from this situation. And so I know it is that as we begin this time together, that we do it with a heart full of thanksgiving, with a heart full of gratitude, and knowing that we come together so that as we move forward, we are better people every day, moving into a greater expression of God every day, realizing our holiness, realizing our divinity, and knowing that all is good. And so it is. So I want to welcome David Roback. David Roback, say hi to everyone. It's been so long since we've seen you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm really excited about your music, and I can't wait to hear some. You got a song for us, don't you?
Sure do.
All right.
An original.
Oh, no kidding. I love it. Okay, let's
All
hear
three
it, my
originals.
friend. Yes, wonderful. All right.
All right. There we go. Sometimes I wonder where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. When the world world seems cold and lonely, and I cannot find a friend. When the day seems long and empty, and I don't know what to do, I calm my mad impatience when I stop and turn to you. Found my way, found my way, found my way, found my way. I searched and asked more questions. I had to know the truth. I learned about forgiveness. For grace, you don't need proof. When miracles do happen, and you have the eyes to see, the path that had eluded was right inside of me. Found my way, found my way, found my way, found my way. Without your light to guide me, when I need a song to sing, I call on you to join me, and what happiness you bring. Found my way, found my way, found my way, found my way. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, David Roback. So I've been talking to the web guy while we've been doing this, and you know, he's asking me to go live on YouTube. I'm just going to take a moment and see if I can get to that. I had it,
Okay.
and I just don't see a button for doing it. Give me 3 seconds. We're gonna get this handled. All right, it says we're live.
I have on this end, it says we're live.
Cool. Okay. Well, we're live on YouTube, so we're just gonna keep moving forward, and we will have this in a recorded format somewhere, and I am going to trust that Kamai is just going to do a fantastic job with editing out some of the chatter that's not really serving the Sunday program today. So thank you for the music, David. And, you know, one of the things that is really important to Unity of Tacoma that the Board of Trustees has conversations about all the time is just being in integrity. And that's why we're doing this from home, is because we want to be in integrity with the order from the governor that has us at home as a non-essential business. And we want to be in integrity with copyright, which is why David has worked so hard to put together these wonderful original musical pieces. And we're really grateful. I thank you very much, David, for doing that for us. All right, so welcome to Unity of Tacoma. We are an online community with a physical presence in Tacoma, Washington. My name is Raylene, and I'm absolutely delighted to be with you today. I know that we're working on getting the live stream going, but maybe you're just watching a recording of today's service. And that being the case, we hope you'll come back and watch us live next Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific, www.unity253.com, or our YouTube channel, Unity253. Hit subscribe if you want to know when we're live streaming. Today I'm talking about the new normal, and one of the things I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to take myself off of this virtual background and let you see where I really am. This virtual background is the foyer of our meeting space here in Tacoma, but we are not meeting there. I am here in my home and have done my best to make it look pretty for you back there. But this is the new normal. It's different. It's uncomfortable. There's a lot to learn. You wouldn't think so, but just moving venues from a meeting space where I have tech support and people that are giving me energetic feedback, it's a big switch. My day job had me move home. Oh gosh, about the same time that we stopped working in the church space and got me set up with a workstation here at my house so that I could continue to be productive for them. And I decided together with my husband that I was going to actually move out of our bedroom and move into the guest room where my office was. And that decision was made because my husband has fragile health. He has COPD, and even a small infection, lung infection, can cause him to end up in the hospital on oxygen. And so since I do still have some contact with the community, less and less as we go on, but in order to keep him safe, I've decided to just move up here to the guest room slash office. And one of the first things I did was give myself a black eye. If you go back and watch some of the earlier recordings, I don't think the first one, maybe the second one of me live streaming from home, you will see that there's a little shadow under my left eye. And I actually was specifically wearing my darker glasses to kind of mask the fact that I had banged my eye in the dark, my cheekbone on my office chair, because I didn't see it. And I wasn't used to being in this space. I don't have it memorized the way I have the other spaces in my house memorized. It's kind of new to me being up here. And I gave myself a black eye because it was new and I didn't know where I was going. And if that weren't enough, about a week after that, I was heading downstairs because I'm on the third floor, and I was heading downstairs and I fell. I fell all the way down the stairs, crashed into the baby gate that keeps my grandson from coming up, and the baby gate damaged the wall a little bit. And it's been difficult since then. I still have some muscle spasms, and I'm uncomfortable much of the time when I'm sitting, but I didn't even know those stairs were a danger to me. I was wearing the same slippers I always wear, but I had to change. I had to do something new to keep myself safe. And fortunately, I have a wonderful, amazing, attentive husband, and he got me some slippers that have a rubber sole underneath them. But that is part of my new normal. I had to change a few things in terms of how I do life, just moment to moment, to keep myself safe. Everything changes, but we have a lot that's changing all at once, and it can be difficult to take in. And because my daughter had a neurological disorder when she was young, I got to get some education about how the brain works, how the brain learns. She has a seizure disorder, and they taught me that when she has a little seizure, it sort of just like runs along a little neural pathway. And every time she has another little seizure, it just goes a little bit farther. And then eventually it would do what they call generalize, where it would just take over the entire brain. And when you were watching her, you could see it happen. You could see her have, what we would call a little seizure, where she just might do a repetitive motion, but she couldn't speak to us. And you could tell when she was having a generalized seizure because she wasn't even there. She wasn't doing a repetitive motion. She wasn't making any sort of vocalizations. She would get really musical with her little seizures. She would just like hum. And with the generalized seizures, it's generally what you think of when you think of a seizure. She'd be collapsed on the ground and not in control of her little body. And what they taught me was that this is very normal for people who have seizure disorders. The brain actually learns how to seize, and it does it one little seizure at a time. And that's how we learn in general. Have you ever like put something in short-term memory and then it's gone? You know, you created that little neural pathway. And the neurologist described it to me as a grassy field. He said there's this grassy field, and if you walk through it once, maybe a day or two later, you won't be able to tell that you walked through that grassy field. The grass will right itself, it'll fill itself back in, and you won't be able to see where you walked through that grassy field. But if you make that trip every day, if you walk through that grassy field every day, eventually you're going to wear a path that anyone can see, because you just do it again and again and again. And that's how memory works, and that's how seizures work, and that's how learning works. Is you keep reinforcing those neural pathways until it becomes very, very clear. And I suspect that's why a lot of older people with problems like dementia and Alzheimer's have a greater memory of what happened in their youth than of what happened more recently, because they've had years and years and years to develop those neural pathways. I'm not a neuroscientist, but I've wondered about that a lot. So we learn, and we learn quickly. At the same time, one of the things that we learn is how to make life easier for ourselves. And we can be very resistant to change of any sort, and even change that we want, like planning a wedding is a really good example. You want to get married, you want to have the party, you want to have your friends there. There's all these details to attend to. Your body interprets that as stress. It doesn't seem like it, because we associate stress with being something negative, the loss of a job, or an auto accident, something that negatively impacts us. We kind of think of as being stressful. Lack of funds could be something that we consider stressful, but just about any change is stressful. Moving up here to this room was stressful for me. And fortunately, I recognized that. So when feelings would come up, I just go, oh, okay, that's my brain and my heart dealing with change. And not everybody understands that is what is happening. We have that limbic reptile brain that sometimes psychologists talk about, that protects us. And one of the things that it does is it resists change. While we're sitting here doing church and talking about how to be better people and how to really know who we are, there's also a group of Washingtonians gathering a little south of here in our state capital, protesting the safety measures that have been put in place by Governor Inslee. They don't like it. And while they have a lot of very evolved reasons why they don't like it, the bottom line is it's different. It's not the same. And one thing that any parent can tell you is that when you institute changes in your home for your children, when you go more lenient, it's very easy. But if, as a parent, you've ever had to put measures in place that are stricter, that is not so easy. It's much easier as a parent to start from a very conservative space, and then little by little give your kids more freedom as you feel like they're able to handle it. But as a parent of three, I absolutely know the difficulty of realizing you've gone too far. And at those times when I knew I went too far and had to institute stricter guidelines for my children, it was traumatic for them. It was very, very difficult. And so we're in a position as a society here in Washington, especially, where Governor Inslee has given us some guidelines that restrict us from doing things that we had the freedom to do before. And some people are taking it very personally. And what I know is that that's a totally normal human response. And what I also know is that it's coming from a more primal place than the work that we're going to do here today, which is to talk about a new normal, how it gets established, and what what it means. You know, we will get through this. And what is being predicted, this is not Raylene talking, I've been doing a lot of reading. What's been predicted by many people is that we will be establishing a new normal. For example, even as restrictions are lifted, we may be expected to wear face masks in public. And eventually that'll just be normal. You'll just have them in your with your shopping bags, and know that anytime you're going to be in close proximity with someone closer than 6 feet, that you're going to wear a face mask, and you're going to do that for your protection. And you're going to do that as an example to youngsters, to normalize it for them so that they can feel comfortable protecting themselves. And we'll say things like, oh my gosh, remember when we used to go shopping without masks? And it won't be the new normal anymore. It'll just be normal. I mean, remember when cell phones came out? You know, that was so fun. And I love technology. I was so excited to get my first cell phone, and then to get my first smartphone. That was a really big deal for me. I was very excited about it. And now I live a lifestyle where I have several computers, multiple monitors. I have a personal phone. I have a work phone. I have 2 smartphones, and that is my normal. So, you know, everything changes, and we can get accustomed to it. And the invitation today is to be mindful. Be very, very mindful about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what decisions you're making, and where are you making them from? I had an idea for a talk series. It was going to be about meme spirituality. I like those memes that come through my feed that say things that spark something deep within me, and I can see wisdom and truth contained within them, even though it's just maybe a sentence. And one of those memes that I had thought of doing a talk on was, you know, when you switch your thinking from why is this happening to me to what can I learn from this, you'll find greater peace and happiness. And that's essentially what we're talking about today. So yay, I get to do my meme spirituality talk, my first one here. It's really easy to go to a place of why is this happening to me, but it doesn't always look like a tantrum and you know, stamping feet and saying why me. It doesn't look like that. You know what it looks like, what it feels like is fear and self-doubt and hurt feelings. That's what it feels like. Why is this happening to me? And when you can switch that and start consciously, you know, recognize, okay, hey, I am in a place of hurt feelings, for example. And being in a place of hurt feelings becomes a trigger for me to start thinking from a really conscious level of, what is this teaching me? And that doesn't mean that the hurt feelings go away right away. And that doesn't mean that the fear gets dispelled. It doesn't even mean that the fear is not reasonable. It just means that on a spiritual and emotional level, you're working with the material differently. You're becoming mindful. And even if you feel like this is work that you've already done and this is a regular practice for you, it's certainly a regular practice for me. There are a lot of people for whom this is not a regular practice. There are a lot of people who are in Olympia right now, and they're there because they're scared. They're scared of losing their freedoms. They're scared of the changes that are coming. They're upset that they have no control over something so small they can't see it. And that's not unreasonable. Those feelings are not unreasonable, and those thoughts are not unreasonable. What's unreasonable is behavior that puts people at risk. So you switch your thinking from why is this happening to me to what does this have to teach me? And then you can have a conversation with yourself or with a trusted mentor about switching your thinking. You know, it's another meme spirituality, the hallmark spirituality, change your thinking, change your life, but it is so gosh darn true. And what is also true is that the first time we make that decision to change our thinking, it's definitely a thought process, right? It's not a heart process. right? Switching your thinking to something that is more positive and serves you better in the world is first a decision to do that. But just like walking through the grassy field, just like how your brain has to learn over and over and over before you get that neural pathway that creates something that you can never forget. There's a similar dynamic in the spiritual sense. And that dynamic's been called several things over the years. I remember when I was really new to learning about new thought and positive thinking and the benefits of that, one of the phrases that I had learned was chemicalization. It's a very old fashioned phrase. It did not resonate with me at all. But I think for a lot of people who are watching, you're familiar with that phrase and you know what it means. Because I was really resistant to it, resistant to the new thing. I hadn't heard it before. It didn't make sense to me in the context that I understood chemicals. I didn't like that phrase. I would use the term embodiment because it's one thing to think something. It's even one thing just to know something. It's a whole other thing to be that person. It's one thing to know that words of encouragement are how I want to present in the world. It's one thing to know that I want to be a healthy, positive person, because there is such thing as toxic positivity. I want to be healthy and positive out in the world, and then actually doing it, because there's going to come a time when I'm triggered. There's going to come a time when someone hurts my feelings. Ooh, see, that's a phrase that I want to change for myself. When my feelings get hurt, no one can hurt my feelings, but my feelings can get hurt. I can get triggered by something that someone says or does, and it could be real or imagined. In fact, I'll tell the story on myself to illustrate that. So I have some family friends, and what I know about this family is that they are amazingly mature. The emotional maturity level in this family is one of the reasons that I love spending so much time with them. And they're also deeply spiritual. They do their work, and the husband kind of dropped out very suddenly. And I noticed that he had blocked or unfriended me on Facebook, and I kind of got this email saying that there was something we had been going to work on together, and he had decided he wasn't going to work on it, and no explanation given. Just that was his decision, which is totally fine. I wrote him back and said, okay, I understand and I respect your decision. Thank you for letting me know. And, I'm just wondering if there was some injury that caused this to be the choice that you felt like you had to make, let me know. And part of that was coming from a place of, I have been lately having this experience of being the wrong one. I've just been wrong an awful lot lately. And that's something I've practiced being okay with. But I didn't know. There was nothing. I couldn't think of anything that would have caused this person to be so unhappy with our relationship, our friendship, that he would just drop away without saying, by the way, I don't want to spend time with you right now because you did XYZ or you said XYZ, which is how we ordinarily would communicate. So without that information, I made up a story. I made up a story that he was probably upset with me, or at least that I knew that that was a possibility. I think I'm developed enough at this point to recognize that that wasn't necessarily it. It's interesting to me that people don't think about us nearly as much as we imagine they do. Most of us are so busy thinking about ourselves and working on ourselves to even notice what's going on for others. If you're feeling judged, there's actually a high probability that that's not actually going on from other people. But not everyone's that developed. Judgment does happen. I've just tried to point out that sometimes we tell ourselves a story about something and it's just not accurate. So, I had this experience of making up a story about one of the things that could have happened in order for him to have these behaviors. And that was that I must have done something. I've since gotten clarity on that. And none of that was actually the case. I mean, he's a very busy man with a family, and he just needed to put some things down. And some of the things he put down was our project together. And one of the things he put down was being on Facebook. It wasn't personal. Everyone's blocked on Facebook. He's not there anymore. But it was good to have. It was good to have that clarity. I was looking online to see if there was some other material that I could get into with this topic of the new normal, and how we adjust to showing up as our best selves in the world through change. And I found an interesting article. It was an interview with Ellen Pompeo, who is an actress. She was on Grey's Anatomy. She was the title character, and she's now a producer. And she says, step one is to be 100% honest with yourself. And I think what's important to notice about that is to be 100% honest with yourself, right? We don't need to visit our self-doubt or our assumptions on other people, but it's important for us to recognize, okay, I'm having self-doubt. I see myself making assumptions. I had this feeling in my stomach, like I had blown a relationship, and I had no idea what had actually happened. And so, that's a trigger for me. Like we were talking before, fear, self-doubt, hurt feelings. Those are the times when we have to stop and evaluate what's really going on for us. And it helped me to be 100% honest with myself about what I was feeling, what assumptions I could be making. And I didn't need to visit that on anyone else. I didn't go around saying, oh my gosh, I think this guy's mad at me. Oh my gosh, this is a problem. I feel so bad. I did feel bad, but who do I serve by telling others? It's not about 100% honesty with everybody you meet. It's about 100% honesty with yourself. And I would totally agree to that. I'm part of a group on Facebook about radical honesty, which comes from a book. And that's an important distinction when it comes to radical honesty. Radical honesty is not about just saying everything that's in your head. Radical honesty is about being honest with yourself about who you are, what you're thinking. Step two is, she says, don't be worried about what other people think. And this is also true. Again, most people aren't actually thinking anything about us, I've discovered. But there's a book, and the person who introduced the book to me said, if you understand the title, you don't need to read the book. And the name of the book is What Other People Think of You Is None of Your Business. And I would maintain that that's true. That's certainly been something that's turned my life around. Don't worry about what other people are thinking about you. It doesn't mean to stop caring about other people. It simply means that there's nothing to be gained from fretting that someone doesn't like you or that someone misunderstood you. Be 100% honest with yourself about who you are, what your intentions were. What can I learn from this, as opposed to why is this happening? Why is this person being so difficult? Why does this person not like me? No, what can I learn from this? For me, it helped me learn that there's a place in me that cares very deeply about that friendship, especially because it's a family unit that I'm friends with. It would be very difficult to have one person in that family group that didn't care for my company, and it concerned me. And that's a healthy thing, I think. I think that wanting to preserve the relationship, and I was totally willing to hear that I'd been wrong about something. Again, I'm so used to being wrong this week that that's a whole other talk. But don't be worried about what other people think about you. Know yourself, right? Step three, she says, is to stop trying to be perfect, which just, makes me realize how far I have yet to go. So I know you probably can't see, I can't see on my monitor behind me, but I've got this lovely Turkish carpet. And when I was doing my preview about, what's it going to look like when I'm on camera, I noticed that the fringe was kind of, cattywampus. I actually spent time this morning getting ready for church today, finger combing the fringe on my carpet so that it would be perfect for our broadcast today, and I'm not sure that anyone can actually see it. I have a tendency towards perfectionism. One of the nice things about knowing that about myself is that if someone were to come to me and say, this is what happened, it really bothered me, I'm having a hard time in our relationship because, you were being just too controlling about this, I'd go, oh yeah, that does sound like me. Being 100% honest with myself. That it works. I'm telling you, it works. There was a time in my life where I was in my healing process. I was emotionally immature and needy. And part of how I expressed my desire to be liked by people was to try and be the perfect girl. I mean, I had good girl syndrome like no one you have ever met. And if you've ever been around somebody who has good girl syndrome, you know that we are insufferable to be around. And so I actually was getting the opposite result that I wanted to have. And in fact, sometimes when I would try and tout myself as being a perfect little good girl, I mean, a lot of people were like, well, all right, I'm not like that, so obviously if I share that, she's not going to want to be friends with me. And that wasn't true at all. I was just looking for some affirmation and some value. I was trying to find my personal value, and I was doing it in an unhealthy way. And knowing that about myself and having done it for decades, it's not something that the grass easily grows over. There's definitely some pathways where I express that still. So when someone calls me on it, I get to be honest with myself and say, okay, yeah, that sounds like me. I understand why that would be difficult for you. And that's okay. Let's see what we can do to work on this. So stop trying to be perfect. Step 4 is own who you are. This is a very interesting way of saying it, but we talked about that a little bit here. It's um, own your strengths, right? So one of because everything has a light side and a dark side, and so that desire for perfection that I have can be expressed very healthfully through my career. And I love to work with technology. I love to help people. I love to organize things, and that desire for things to be perfect expresses itself as a quality work product many times. I get frustrated when I can't put all of the time that I want to into making a document not only accurate but pretty. And that's just not always available to me. But just knowing that I have that skill, and the more I work on it, the better it shows itself, and it's a value. It's a value to my employer. It's a value to our clients, and there's a strength in being a perfectionist. But there's also a dark side. It's like, loyalty. There is a light side and a dark side to loyalty. So know yourself, and you will be able to, with being 100% honest with yourself, you will be able to find the light side of each quality that is inherently you, because there is always a light side and a dark side. With loyalty, there's a light side in that people come to count on you. I'm very loyal, and it's one of those things that's kind of hard to earn because I'm so standoffish and I'm not very social. So it's hard to get into the inner circle with me. But once you're there, man, it's forever there. I had a friend that I spent a lot of time with when I lived in Seattle, and our lives went separate directions, and we don't even comment on each other's Facebook pages anymore. But if I saw her in person again, it would be as if there were no time or space between us ever. I am just intensely loyal to her. But that loyalty also kept me in a bad marriage for a long time. And so there's a dark side and a light side to everything. And if you know who you are, really get to know who you are, you don't need to judge yourself for having characteristics that may express in an unhealthy way, because there is a healthy way to express those characteristics. My black and white nature help me to sort and categorize, but it can also cause an analysis paralysis when something like falls in that gray area. So I now recognize, because I know myself, that when things are getting complicated in terms of, organizing, categorizing, what have you, I can see myself spinning my wheels because I know who I am, and it helps me to take a step back and then to step into being the person who can use my strengths to make something happen. At work, when I get into that analysis paralysis, generally what I do is clear my desktop, right? My computer, I have too many things open, it gets very cluttered. So if I can just categorize things, even if, one of the categories is I have no idea what to do with this, just getting it off visually helps me. And then I have that clean black and white slate, and then I can start bringing things into the right place. And I'm able to do that because I've learned about myself. I've learned who I am. And it's a beautiful thing to truly know yourself. But it's not enough to just accept the good things about ourselves. It's a very important thing to know the good things of ourselves, but it's also very healthy to recognize the dark side of our characteristics and our flaws, and not to beat ourselves up about our flaws, but to accept that we have them. Right? Being perfect little Miss Priss did not serve me or anyone around me. I guarantee you, 100%. That was difficult for all of us. Nobody had a good time with that. And I couldn't understand back then why everyone loved my sister so much when she was kind of a hot mess. Well, they loved her because she knew who she was and she knew what her weaknesses were, and she was totally okay with them, and was working on them. But I couldn't understand why she was a preferred companion to me, where I did everything right. And I mean, now I get it, and I meet people who are on that path, and I recognize right away what's going on. And I love that phrase, a parenting phrase, when you stop thinking about children as attention seeking and start turning that around and saying it's connection seeking, then you discover a whole new way of being with people. And so I know back in the day that a lot of my behaviors were conceived by others as being attention seeking, and I'm not going to say that's wrong, but there was something deeper under that, and that was a desire for connection. It was a desire, to be liked. I worked with an intuitive, and one of the things she said was she believes that everybody has an innate quality. Like we kind of like the love languages, we all enjoy all of the love languages, but there's usually one that stands out as being our biggest love language that we can apply to ourselves. She thinks the same is true of personality qualities and being very intuitive. She said that she thought mine was truth. And I'm like, yeah, that actually resonates. I mean, truth is very important to me. And, the dark side of that, of course, is that not everyone wants to talk about everything. I love my mentor at my day job because she's very into exploration. So I can say, oh, this happened and I thought this and I felt this and this is how I worked through it. And her response is, oh, that is some good inner work. Whereas someone else might be, I don't know why you're telling me this. Right. So, the idea that truth might be my primary quality, like my core identity as a human being, seemed like it could be true. And we sat in silence for a little while. And she said, no, you know what? Actually, I think your core identity as a human being is intimacy. And I burst into tears. I recognized it right away. I'm like, oh my God, yes. Yes, that is my core identity. I'm starting to cry. Sorry. That is my core identity. Intimacy is so important to me, and it's that desire for connection. And because of my history, and because of the wrong turns that I made trying to express that, and trying to gain connection with people in ways that actually pushed them away. It was eye-opening to realize how important that desire for deep connection is it explains my oversharing. You know how people say, oh, it flashed before my eyes, my life flashed before my eyes when they have a near-death experience. Uh, that's what happened. My entire life just went whoosh. But I was looking at it through a different lens. I was looking at it through the lens of my core identity as a human being, being intimacy. And it explains why not why tension in relationships is difficult for me. I don't like sitting with a misunderstanding between me and another person, because it's such a block to that experience of intimacy. It's hard for people to get into my inner circle because I desire to be with people who will go that deep with me, who will hear, okay, I totally screwed up today and I hurt someone. And you know, this is what I learned from that. And this is how I think these are the things that I think I need to do moving forward, and have people honor that, and have someone hold that in a safe and a sacred space for me, because that's another part of that that need for intimacy, is just knowing that people are holding the most vulnerable parts of me in a place of confidentiality and safety. So boy, that being said, you know, I created a new normal in that moment, and it was instantaneous. I can't say that I immediately became skilled about things, but it helped me know who I am, and it helped me know how I want to be in the world, which are two totally different things, right? I am a card carrying introvert. And a lot of people are surprised to hear that. They're like, oh, you know, you seem to love people. I'm like, I do. And you know, you seem to be like this type A, go, go, go. And I am a type A, people loving introvert. And knowing that about myself just helps me know that when like today, when I've scheduled time to be with people, we're going to do Sunday Rumble at 11 o'clock, and I'm going to have more people time, which I love, because the Sunday Rumble does tend to create a space for that vulnerability and that intimacy that I'm seeking. I also know I'm going to be energetically drained, and so I just have to create a space for myself to have a place to rest. Um, but you can see it wasn't comfortable to come to that understanding about myself. It wasn't comfortable at all. But because I was willing to say, well, not why is this happening to me, but what can I learn from it, I was able to step into a new normal. And I stepped into it the same way I fell down the stairs, right? Just uh, a hot mess rolling down the stairs. I mean, I'm a large lady, and so my left hip kind of served as a toboggan, and I just all the way down the stairs, crashed into the gate, damaged the wall, and that is how my personal growth seems to go. I mean, sometimes it's just a free fall, and I get hurt, and I hurt other people. There's collateral damage, and you know, that was kind of what I was concerned about with this family friend. I'm like, okay, did I do something, not necessarily to him, but that caused him injury? Is that what was really going on there? I needed to find out. So I just you know, reached out, and I reached out from a place of recognizing my flaws and being okay with my flaws, and being 100% honest with myself that I have those flaws, and those flaws can hurt people. And you know, but also to recognize my strength, which is that I desire intimacy with people, and that means being a safe space for them. And so, you know, when someone doesn't feel safe with me, you know, it's always a learning experience. But there you go. This is a new normal that we're stepping into in society, and not everybody has the self-awareness to understand what's going on for them, that they're in fear or self-doubt. And so their answer is to march on the Capitol, and to try and keep things the way they are. And so the invitation to you is, don't march on the Capitol before you really stop and think about how something serves you, how something that may feel uncomfortable and feel like a weakness even is actually something that can serve you, and you will be a better person for it, and you will show up for other people and help them step into a greater experience of their life and who they are. And I'm going to invite David Robeck to come back on and sing us a song. I'll go collect myself, and then we'll have a meditation after the music. David?
Thank you. I really related to what you were saying. This is another song that I wrote, and I kind of changed the lyric at the end to be topical about what is going on. It's meant to be funny. I hope it is.
Brought it to your door. But if I pull the stars all down and place them on your floor, but if the Beatles play tonight together as a band, please sit right there beside me as I cry and hold my hand. It's the snow that angels throw, bless us with goodwill. But if the sun's warm embrace could heal everyone until we met in the glorious afterlife, all together hand in hand. But if we could imagine our trespasses weren't all planned, but if there were no what ifs, I wouldn't get to say. If I find a roll of Charmin, would it really save the day?
Thank you. Thank you so much, David. I'm just absolutely delighted. Hopefully I'm not muted. I can't see myself anymore. There we go. Okay, I'm unmuted. Awesome. All right, new things, learning new things every day. So I'm going to go ahead and mute David, and we're going to have a meditation. I just need just a moment because I'm going to share my screen. This is going to allow me to have some music with our meditation. So while I'm doing that, why don't you guys just take some deep breaths? Comfortable in your seat. Get comfortable with who you are. Because who you are is God in expression. manifestation of spirit seeking connection with other beautiful manifestations of spirit. And who you are is perfect. Always. What you see as a flaw has a light side that's a gift for yourself and for the world. And it emerges from a place of being able to see yourself fully without judgment. Looking through a lens of remembering that you're spirit. And remembering that everyone you meet is too. And so remembering that this is simply an expression of your divinity, this human life, this walk on this earth. And that those things that seem beyond our control are not something that's happening to us, but something that's teaching us something. And so without judging our reaction, without judging our fear, which is a gift, without judging hurt feelings, which is a gift, we simply know that the answers don't lie entirely within those emotions. Those emotional responses are also teachers. They keep us safe, but they also grow us. So with a deep, cleansing breath, come back and join us. And let's have another song from David Robeck. David, give me a moment. I'm going to stop my share and get you back up here with us. All right, David Robeck, thank you for waiting.
Yes. A while back, I wrote a song about changes and how things are different from like the 40s and 50s. And back when there were bands with like the big band era. But anyway, speaking of changes, here we go.
So come with me to a time so long ago. The sounds were real, the strings and a big oboe. We'll sand the floor and turn the lights down low. We'll sand the floor and turn the lights down low. And for just one night, we'll swing across the floor. Like our grand folks did, they'll be here once more. And we'll hold each other tight, then we'll swing. We'll hold each other tight, then we'll swing. Let's swing, here we go. We won't need to dance to faking noise. Just close your eyes and listen to the boys. They use real talent shaking up the room. They use real talent, shaking up the room. This big ballroom still has a lot to tell. No hip hop here, you won't hear techno hell. Just turn our cell phones off and let's go back in time. Just turn our cell phones off and we'll go back in time. Here we go. Come with me to a time so long ago. Sounds were real, strings and a big oboe. Sand the floor and turn the lights down low. We'll sand the floor and turn the lights down low. And for just one night, we'll swing across the floor. Like the grand folks did, they'll be here once more. And we'll hold each other tight, then we'll swing. We'll hold each other tight, then we'll swing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I know the sound on my end was a little bit goofy. Next time we have you on, we'll experiment with your sound a little bit more. But I love your music, and I'm so glad that you agreed to come on and spend some time with us. We just have a couple of announcements, and we're running a little bit over time because of our technical difficulties, and because apparently I love to hear the sound of my own voice. So we do have Sunday Rumble at 11 o'clock. You would have gotten an email if you're on our email list. So you can join us through the information in that email. If you did not get the email, go ahead and drop me a line. Either hit me up on Facebook on our Unity website, Facebook page, or if you've got my email, just email me directly. I will watch for those and get you the information to get into the meeting, so we can talk about what we were, continue the conversation from the talk today, or sometimes we get into other subjects, and sometimes we just take a moment to get to know each other a little bit better. So if you got anything out of today's service, we hope that you will support what we are doing here by making a donation at www.unity253.com. Up at the top of the page, there is a donate button. Everything that you do supports us being able to put on a quality program for you to get this technology, which, hey, part of the new normal. I'm so glad that you are here going through this with us and just watching how sometimes it isn't perfect, and watching me learn to be okay with that. Thanks again for joining us. I'm just going to do a quick closing prayer here, and I will see you on Sunday Rumble on the Zoom room. Oh, but just breathing in, breathing out, and coming to center one more time. We simply go to that place of remembering that God is all there is. And we are so grateful today, right here, right now, for every person who joined us live or who is watching this as a recording, knowing that they are a bright and beautiful spiritual being coming forth and learning that the new normal just becomes the regular normal until we get a new normal again. This is simply the way of life. And we use this to explore who we are. We use this to find those places where we have a piece of resistance, and to go to a place of accepting both of our flaws and our strengths, and use those experiences and those feelings to be a better person and to awaken more fully to our true nature as divine beings. And so it is with a heart full of gratefulness, of gratitude, that we call this time together to a close, knowing that it has been so very good. And so it is. Amen. Thank you very much for joining us, and I will see you at Sunday Rumble. David, thank you again for your wonderful music. Let's have you back soon, okay?
Thank you.
All right, you guys. Have a good afternoon.